Welcome back to Speak Better, Write Better. Today we are cracking the code on something that can be quite tricky. Especially for non-native English speakers, phrasal verbs can be a bit puzzling. But fear not. Today we will have a clear idea of how to frame your phrases. And do you know the best part about phrasal verbs? They are all used in casual conversation. We have all used phrasal verbs knowingly and unknowingly. So, let's find out how we can make our English more impressive with phrasal verbs. You must be aware that the Cricket World Cup 2023 is currently going on. God forbid, we hope this kind of a situation does not arrive this time like in 2019. But if it rains, the commentators will certainly use this line. Do you realize that they have used a phrasal verb? Can you identify it? Called off is a phrasal verb here. This means cancelling something. Now, you can easily understand that when we put the main verb and the particle together, they create a new meaning that might be different from what you'd expect based on the main verb alone. So, phrasal verbs are the seasonings that add flavor to your dish. Now, let's look at some more examples to understand these tricky pairs even better. We will start with turn down. You have been searching for a job for months now, and finally you receive a job offer. It's for a prestigious position at a renowned company, and the salary is excellent. However, the job requires you to travel frequently, meaning you have to spend a lot of time away from your family and loved ones. Now, think about it. In this situation, you turn down the job offer because frequent travel would mean that you have to stay away from your family for a long time. So, what do you think turn down means here? Turn down means to refuse something, saying no to something just like you did with your job offer. Next we have is put off. Your team has been preparing for an important meeting for weeks now. Everyone was ready to discuss critical matters and make important decisions. But they had to put off the meeting until next week. Scheduling conflicts made it impossible to hold the meeting as planned. Therefore, put off means to delay or postpone something, just like they did with this meeting due to scheduling conflicts. Call on. Suppose you are in a classroom and the teacher is conducting a lesson. During the lesson, the teacher calls on various students to answer questions and participate in the discussion. In this context, call on means to invite the students to participate in the classroom discussion, typically by answering questions. Therefore, the phrasal verb call on means to ask or request someone to do something. Then comes go on. A teacher is in the middle of an important lesson explaining a complex concept to the students. However, there's an unexpected interruption, perhaps a loud noise from outside. Despite this interruption, the teacher decides to ignore it and go on with the lesson. The teacher didn't let the disruption derail the class and continued explaining the topic to the students. So, go on means to continue or proceed, even when there are disruptions. The next phrasal verb is come across. You are at the library looking for a specific book. As you search through the shelves, you come across something unexpected. An interesting book that you didn't even know existed immediately catches your eye. So, come across means to find or encounter something unexpectedly, just as you did with that fascinating book at the library. Let's discuss setup. Now, imagine that you have been planning to start your own business for years now. Finally, you decide to take the plunge and turn your dream into a reality. You are determined to set up your business this new year. It's a significant step toward establishing your own business and making your dream come true. Therefore, set up means to establish or create something, just as you might do by setting up your own business this new year. Now we have breakdown. Just last week, in a city not too far from here, a severe storm struck, causing a widespread power outage. The entire city was plunged into darkness, and essential services such as traffic lights and communication networks broke down. Can you guess what breakdown means in this context? What happened to the city during the power outage? In this case, breakdown means that the power grid and the related services stopped functioning due to the storm's impact. Therefore, breakdown means to stop functioning or collapse. Here comes show up. You have been planning a surprise birthday party for your best friend. You have decorated the living room with balloons and the cake is also ready. All the guests are gathered waiting for your friend to show up. Your best friend finally showed up at the party, making the surprise a huge success. Their arrival added joy and excitement to the gathering. So, from here we can understand to show up means to appear at a particular place. It means to arrive somewhere, especially when expected. Given. Imagine you are on a diet and you are trying to resist the temptation of a plate full of cookies. You are determined to stick to your healthy eating plan, but those cookies are calling your name. In this case, you give in to the temptation and you indulge in those cookies. As a result, you deviate from your diet plan and those cookies become an irresistible treat. So, to give in means to surrender to a desire or temptation, just as you did when you decided to enjoy those cookies, even though you were reluctant at the beginning. It's a common scenario when our willpower is put to test. Finally, we have bring up. You are sitting with your father and you want to discuss something very important with him. What do you think happens when you decide to bring up the topic? How do you think your father reacts? You bring up the topic you have been thinking about and your father starts to listen and engage in the conversation. So, to bring up means to mention or introduce a topic in a conversation that would lead to an important discussion. Phrasal verbs are used a lot in our everyday English to add depth to our conversations. So, learning them is very important. Until next time, keep exploring phrasal verbs to speak and write better.